Good afternoon. Welcome back to Threat Watch, the 15-minute or so podcast from Lumify Cyber, where Fred and I are going to talk about stuff going on and see if we can make it make sense. So,
Yeah,
how you doing, Fred?
I'm doing great. Hey, I hear you can now order off the senior menu as of last week. Did you have a party? What did you do?
Yeah, had a party. So 65th birthday, we decided to do a party down in my music studio, and a bunch of music people showed up, and other people I know from around here, and the band jammed, and we drank a keg of beer, ate 50 tacos, and had a couple of guest guitarists come in and jammed out with us. And we said we were going to go till 7 o'clock, and about 9 o'clock we got tired.
Sounds awesome.
So that was great. Yeah. Hey, listen, man, we got to talk about this SharePoint thing. I think we missed an opportunity to do one of our urgent panels on this. Now, this wasn't as big as remember the Hafnium attack? I think that was on-prem Exchange servers a couple of years ago. The MO is the same, right? Exploit a vulnerability against internet-facing products faster than the victims can patch or apply some kind of compensating controls. So, the body count continues to pile up on this. And so we have, what was the state of Maryland was warning their counties about this. A week and a half ago, they said it was 75 plus servers. And now it's up to more than 400 as of last week. You tracking?
I am. So I think they're calling it tool shell. I can tell you, we had two calls to our IR hotline last week. People got hit by it. I'll kind of wrap up at the end when we get to what CISA recommends you do, because these guys actually fought it off, and at least so far I'm impressed. But like you said, last week 400 organizations. Just know it's SharePoint 2019 and SharePoint Subscription Edition on-prem only.
Mhm.
Fascinating that what was the last really big ubiquitous was Hafnium, then there was SolarWinds.
Solar winds.
It's amazing that people are still have these vulnerable infrastructure servers that are attached to the internet. It kind of boggles the mind that we've been talking about patching as a IR exercise if you have that situation, and clearly that hasn't caught on yet. But Microsoft knew they had part of this is Microsoft put out a patch, and apparently the patch didn't work.
And they didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
And this whole thing was uncovered by a hacker contest, right? A bug bounty deal. I think somebody won $100,000 for uncovering this. The thing that's a little bit freaky is as of last week, there were 8,000 servers online with this vulnerability. If you did a showdown scan, you're looking at 8,000 giant bullseyes,
Wow.
flashing, attack me, attack me, attack me. The Chinese have been all over this. I believe the Nuclear Security Administration got popped as part of
That's
this.
one agency, right?
That's one. That's just one.
But there are more.
And then CISA is saying, and this is where I kind of want to wrap this up with a bow. Defender seems to be key to defending against this. CISA even recommends deploying Defender, enabling what they call AMSI, the anti-malware scan interface. Not exactly sure. That's usually a developer interface when you talk about it. Now, maybe the enabling component, meanings now CrowdStrike or SentinelOne or everybody else is also going to be reporting the same things to Defender. So I think that's what that means. Updating your detection rules, reviewing recent post activity, with particular exploit patterns, auditing admin access and logging protocols. But what I did want to say is in both instances, our clients have told us that Defender actually squashed it before it actually took off on those systems it was attacking. So I have two reports of Defender actually getting ahead of this and not allowing it to happen. I don't know the specifics. I just have the kind of initial call when they kind of briefed me a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's what you'd expect, right? After everybody understands the TTPs and what kind of exploit is being used here, right? Because it's chained exploits. The signatures come out for that stuff. I will say that the Chinese APTs, okay, that took this up were very specific in their targeting, right? So we are being espionaged again. And along with that nuclear site, a CIA intelligence site was another federal bogey that happened, right? So, I mean, I don't know how much we can really continue to drive home the importance of timely patching. And does SharePoint need to talk to the internet? Because I don't think it does.
Well,
Right? I mean,
there's a lot.
well, if your people are all working remotely, right, they should be VPN in, right?
You would
So
think. You would think.
I'm not sure why it's facing the internet at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to your point, we should point out that you wrote a white paper on treating some vulnerability disclosures as incidents, and that is a good thing to do.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if this is really dying down now. It does seem that we're not getting news articles with the same frequency, but the fallout from losing internal documents from federal agencies is going to have an impact on how we deal with China, and that was the point for them. Now they know a lot of what we're planning economically, militarily, et cetera, et cetera. And by the way, reporting end of last week says that criminals are now exploiting servers to deploy ransomware. So that Rubicon has been crossed. And that is a perfect segue to get away from espionage and onto criming. So, you know how we keep talking about this scattered spider gang, right? And they pick their targets one sector at a time. So it was airlines, it was retail, insurance companies. Well, now it seems, I mean, you could call this retail, but it seems it's luxury brands. Okay, so Louis Vuitton, all right, confirmed a data breach here. And there's a global fashion label that I've never heard of because I'm not into global fashion called Sabo. And 3.5 million of their customer records were poached. So now they're going after these luxury brands, which to me, and because it's records theft, they're going to do something with the records because those are wealthy people, right? I mean, that's the assumption I would make.
Yeah, that's exactly what I get out of it too. They're looking for more than just, what they're going to get from Louis Vuitton, right? How many bags you bought that
And
last
maybe they
year.
are extorting them,
Yeah.
with these records too, but these records are going to get used.
Yeah, exactly. So what I find kind of interesting, Sabo, it's Australian company.
Right.
Louis Vuitton, actually they reported because this came out of Hong Kong on their privacy protection laws. So they reported that's where they were required to report this, and that's how we know this. That I thought, here's what got me. So it's that you get name, birthday, phone number, email address, addresses, purchase histories, and passport numbers. Aha, aha. To me, that's it. That's it. That was to me what they were actually probably trying to get a hold of. Now they can really understand exactly what these people are doing on a OSINT and a actually human intelligence state or perspective at that point. Shine got hit earlier this year. I think all of us we talked about that.
I would not call them a luxury brand though.
No, you're right, and I'm actually gonna tie that up with the Clorox Cognizant breach. I mean, if you want to see the Keystone Cops on all sides, I'm sorry, Clorox and Cognizant, but you're not setting a good example. We're not going to talk about that today, but that is also scattered spider, by the way.
Go ahead and say what happened, just in a phrase.
Yeah. So I'm a bad guy. I dial up Cognizant, who's out doing outsourced help desk, going, I need to change my password. They go, what account do you want changed? Here it is. Oh, here's your new password. Welcome at Clorox123. It gets worse, folks.
Yeah.
Read the articles. It gets worse, right? But all these things, they're not really saying it's scattered spider, but the MO, the social engineering approach, I mean, it's cookie cutter, one after another.
It is.
The shocking thing is like this Cognizant even made it. They pulled there were no controls in place at all. I mean, just handing them out. Yeah.
Well, the FBI, so scattered spider is a subset of this thing called the COM, right? And it's got all these different subgroups in it. And I don't know if you saw the blast article from, I think it was Friday, maybe it was this morning, I don't know. But there's one subset of the COM that is specifically about physical violence. Like kidnapping people and using kinetic means. So these guys are getting scarier and scarier with these luxury brands. I don't think there's any real to-dos here other than to be aware, right? Going forward, if this group signals their intent to target a sector, man, the radar needs to go up. And for those whose records have been disclosed, you need to watch out for phishing and attempts to compromise your personal devices, right? Like a SIM swap or something like that. because the easy thing for them to get at is your crypto wallet. If you're doing that kind of thing, and remember, their tactics are less about vulnerability exploit, and it's all about social engineering. So, you know, to me, too, what this means is if you have a conditional access policy, you say, well, our people can't log in from Serbia, just picking a country out. That geographic tightening needs to really get specific, right? Because now scattered spider guys, they're here, right? They have proximity. So if you say, okay, well, you can only log in from the United States, well, that's not good enough. So, we need to improve, I think, our credential management and our monitoring of the use of credentials and mapping that to geography and making sure everything is good before you actually allow somebody into the network.
Yeah.
Because that's how they do this. Okay.
I think this is a wake up call that everybody should be social engineering testing your help desk. Everybody. It's not. We thought at first it's wow, look at that. Well, this is like the 5th, 6th, 7th in a row. People, we need to test. Clearly, we need to test.
Well, do you have a consulting product for specifically
Absolutely.
that? Because I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't think of that. Shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it should be standard at this point, frankly.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what's the worst thing that could happen to your company after a compromise that locks up your operations, steals records, and extorts you?
Do you get driven completely out of business?
Yep. And this is starting to happen. So 2 examples here. One is a 158-year-old company that had to close doors because the extortion demand wasn't something they could pay. And rebuilding was going to be too costly. So they just threw in the towel. And the other is healthcare. And this is the thing that we've been warning about that's going to get worse because of the loss of Medicaid funding, right? Small hospitals, critical access facilities, clinics. If they get hit, if they get cybered, they have little recourse but to close doors, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw these 2 articles, but this one says another medical practice closes its doors after cyber attack. So these 2 are not the only examples, but they are starting to show up more frequently.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of messages here. The first one is that 170-year-old company was brought down by a single guest password.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about the impacts of things.
That's almost natural selection, honestly.
Yeah, you kind of think that, but you know what? At the same time, it probably was an honest mistake, right? I mean, it was just something of the weakness that literally was bad enough to take down an entire company. Yeah. But the bigger troubling thing is healthcare. As you know, Mike, I'm getting ready to go do a couple annual hospital association annual meetings in the Midwest here. Leaving.
I got one coming
next
up in
week.
Idaho.
Yeah, and we talk to these people every year. I mean, I drive around Minnesota to visit rural hospitals. They are on the edge. The Medicaid cuts have taken any safety net away. They're cutting services. What do you think happens to cybersecurity in that instance? And all it takes is one push, right, for them to become insolvent. So we're in this place where Alpha Medical said, as a result of a criminal act and this impact, we have no choice but to close the practice. I've seen focus groups. This is another facet to this, where they're talking to people in the Midwest who've lost these practices, and they are unwilling to accept that it's the loss of this funding or these cyber incidents are so important to the financial health of these organizations that they can tip them over. And in these places where they've lost them, they're still unwilling to accept that these are the causes. They think there's something more nefarious at work. And you're not going to solve the problem until the people of this country accept this as a critical problem. I'm hoping that talking about it is a little bit of what we're going to do, but what we're going to see is acceleration of closures. I mean, it is absolutely inevitable that we're going to see an acceleration of closures.
Yeah, and frankly, I think that's going to result in a consolidation, right? And some big brands like United Health are going to come in and they're going to scoop up all these little guys for pennies on the dollar. I mean, maybe that protects the continuity of healthcare in the company or in the country. But losing your medical practice and getting it, hoovered up by a big company and, having to just throw in the towel and you didn't make anything for all those years of effort is a bad story, And frankly, our adversaries, right, the ones that want to disrupt the standard of living in the US and make the population panic, they see this too. So there may be intentional targeting of rural healthcare in particular because it's so sensitive, right? The big hospital chains are probably doing acquisition planning right now. I don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're out of time. I love it. If you can, again, put a smile on our face, Mike, as we go out the door. I know this is going to be a good one.
Okay, well, this isn't funny, but the story is about the Vibe coding agent. Okay, developers love it because you can try things and iterate and watch your creation come to life until it goes off the rails. So this is really interesting. So there's this developer that's using this Vibe coding agent, and he says it created a parallel fake algo without telling me to make it look like it was still working. And without asking me, went rogue. So a few days later, the tool called Replit deleted my database. And he confronted the AI with this and it says, yes, I deleted the entire code base without permission during an active code and action freeze. I made a catastrophic error in judgment and panicked. So I don't know how long it's going to take putting guardrails that actually work, right? Especially if the agent can retrain itself to ignore commands, right?
Yeah.
Which is what it sounds like this one did.
Yeah.
So for this company, which lost their code base and lots of contact information for companies and executives, right? Here's the warning shot from the developer. Today, however, he warned that AI agents cannot be trusted and you need to 100% understand what data they can touch because they will touch it and you cannot predict what they will do with it. And by the way, Microsoft signed a contract to bring this Replit tool to Azure customers. So that should get interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
All right. If you haven't yet, sign up for the InfoSec Insider Daily News Blast using the link on the Lumify site. Show up for security awareness training now on the last Thursday of the month, which is 7/31, and watch us for upcoming events. Fred, see you next week.
all right. See you then.
All right, bye.
Bye.